My guest in the studio is David Taylor. David's an old friend of mine. I mean, if you think I've been around forever, this man's been around forever and ever, amen. And well-known man in a few circles, including the Otago Magic Circle. David, good morning.
Good morning, Neil.
Yes, the Otago Magic Circle, probably where a lot of your fame first flickered.
Probably. It seems a million years ago now. By the way, I hope you're not too disappointed that I'm not Daniel Craig. You know, you've got to take what you can get with me today. I'm sorry.
Well, you'd be lucky if you've got a cheese roll around here.
Well, I've got a glass of water. That's a start.
Daniel Craig being James Bond and
Yes,
his movie actress
yeah.
wife apparently in the city at the moment.
Apparently, I do hover around the odd coffee shop, you might be pleased to know. I am part of the cafe set now that I'm retired. So all is not lost. Please don't worry.
I don't think you have retired, though, have you?
No,
you
not
you
really.
kid yourself a bit there.
Well, as with a lot of people, I don't like the word retirement. When you look at it, there's always something to do. But no, I don't physically do much work these days. I'm resting. Resting is, I think, the term that actors out of work used to use.
Resting between being
That's
prodded to do something. You're directing people.
That's it, Neil. You've got it.
And of course, your profession over many years now has been doing something else. Tell us.
About the...
Window cleaning. Isn't it?
the window cleaning. Yeah, okay. I wasn't going to mention that, yeah.
Well, I was.
Okay, that's fine.
The reason I was, David, is right here.
Right.
If this works.
Ooh.
Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't want to. Oh, it does now.
Mm-hmm.
Now I go cleaning windows to earn an honest bob. For a nosy Parker, it's an interesting job. Now it's a job that just suits me. A window cleaner you would be if you can see what I can see when I'm cleaning windows on him.
Yes, if you could see what I could see when I'm cleaning windows, you probably look the other way, though, don't you?
I am a
Fall
gentleman.
off the
I'm a
ladder.
gentleman and a scholar, and I've generally looked the other. To be quite honest, I've never seen anything too spectacular, Neil. But that's why I haven't retired yet. There's always that chance that I'm going to see something. You know what I mean? But George Formby, well, that is a surprise. I thought you might have started with "There's no business like show business," but you're only
That's
as good
true.
as what you do. And
Well,
and
later
so
on
does
in the
George
show
Formby.
today, I've got a song I just noticed there. It's too late now, but it's called Magic
Oh,
by
right.
Olivia Newton-John. You Can Do Magic
Yeah.
is another song from a group called America. So, you know, there are magic songs, but the profession being windows, and that's a profession that everyone likes to leave the window cleaning to someone else, and it's good that you got into that business, because I know from personal experience when you or your worker leaves the property, everything's sparkling and it looks great, you know.
Well, that's reassuring and very nice of you to say so, Neil. Yes, we have got a very wide client base, but there is a link, because when I first left school, I worked in an office for a couple of years, and then I thought, as some do, I'll get into the big money. I'll go out and be a labourer, and I'll get into the big money, and I'll go to Australia, and the idea was to work the RSL clubs. So in order to do this, I went to work for a cleaning firm. And as some time passed by, I eventually became self-employed, etc. But originally the idea was that with the cleaning firm that I got the school holidays off so that I could go in to various stores and things and do my wee shows for the kids, you know, in the holidays.
Yes.
And they understood that, and they never pressured me in all the years I worked for them. But now, of course, for years we've been, ABC Cleaners has been owned by me. But yeah, no, I appreciate your thoughts, yeah.
No, you do a splendid job. And sometimes when you look up, I mean, out this window here, we're 5
Yes.
floors up.
Yep.
And the guys arrive here out of the blue virtually.
They drop down,
physically,
yeah.
And they just drop down outside the window and cleaning away there. And I think it takes a certain kind of person to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You don't do that, but you're
No.
on the end of a long pole and you can get
Yeah,
the...
I don't do much myself these
But
days,
you
but we
used
do
to.
have all the gear like that. I confess that in all my career in cleaning, I've never been up one of those cherry pickers,
No.
and I've never hung from the outside of a building. Far too ambitious for me.
And you've never been suspended without the motor working or anything
No,
like that?
no. So
I've
yeah,
seen that.
Yeah,
I saw that in Sydney one
yeah,
day.
really
Oh, gosh, you know, it's
terrible.
3 guys up in one of those, and they must have been 10 stories up, you know.
Well, apparently the wind blows you quite from one side to the other. Not really my sort of thing.
No.
And too late now for me to do that.
What were the RSL clubs like?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, you didn't get there?
No, I didn't. But I recall many years ago when I was working as a magician and ventriloquist, it must have been at the old Night Spot, Stan Phillips Night Spot in town here. Benny Levin was in town for something or other, and so I did an audition, and he offered me to go to Australia. But I don't know. Time moves on. You get married. You don't. I mean, I'm not. There are no regrets, by the way.
No.
I've often thought in the entertainment business there are two kinds of people: the people that can't wait to do another show, and there's another group of people, and I'd be a member of it, what I call reluctant performers. You can deliver the goods. It's your whole life. You always read about it. You know about it. But the fact of the matter is, another show, I'd be thinking tonight already. And anyone that I know in show business, the magicians or whatever, who have been very successful, have invariably been people who can't wait to get to another show. I'm a reluctant performer.
Fair enough.
I was.
But a very good
I confess.
performer.
I confess.
So what sparkled the interest in magic, David?
Right. Well, my family came from Scotland, immigrated into New Zealand in the 1930s. Mother, father, granny, whatever, uncles, aunties. My father at least died when I was 2 years old, and my mother and I used to go on holiday to Christchurch. So I've been about 8 years old, wandering down that wee lane, and sadly no longer there, Chancery Lane.
Oh, yes.
And there was a wee shop about the size of this studio, I guess, probably smaller, Delano's Magic Centre. And this young magician in Christchurch had started the magic shop, and I stopped outside. I think she was. The guy who owned the shop's mother was Scottish. So my mother started having a couple of words with her, and I looked in the window, and something clicked. I'm not sure what it was. And I was absolutely fascinated by these magic tricks and the write-ups on them and the fake packs of cards and the whoopee cushions and the sneezing powders, and it just clicked. That was it. I loved it. Still do. Love it.
You were only about 7 or how old?
About 8.
About 8, yeah.
And then a couple of years later, I was in a bookshop in Dunedin here, Hindman's, looking at some magic books. This young guy was beside us. He would have been about 17, I guess, and it was Richard Walls, who was then restarting the Otago Magic Circle from the pre-war days, and he had gone to bookshops and libraries and had a wee slip of paper there to put in, are you interested in magic, in the magic section? If so, bring Richard Walls and with the details of the Otago Magic Circle. So he said to me, you do a couple of tricks? Yeah. Do you? Not very well, Mr. Walls. No, that never changed to good. And he said, well, look, you should come along to the, and that's how I met Richard and how I became associated at a very early age with the Otago Magic Circle. Yeah.
Because Richard was a lifetime friend of mine too. And,
that's right. Yeah.
And the first time I think I met him really was in Queenstown. I was up doing comparing shows in Queenstown.
You were indeed.
And we had been billeted or something,
Yep.
I suppose. Do you know where
Yes,
I'm getting to?
I do. And that was the first time that I met you, I think.
Just down off Frankton
Yep,
Road.
yep.
And there we were,
Great
sort
days.
of sharing a
Yep.
floor,
Yep.
probably, and a mattress.
Yeah, and the hall was on the edge of a rugby field. It was a sort
That's
of,
right. Yep. Yep.
Isn't
and they had
nostalgia a
dances.
funny thing? I was up in Queenstown a while ago. One of the first things I did was try to find out where that hall was, just to see it.
Yes.
After all those years. I would have
Yes.
been about 17 or 18, I guess.
Well, just collating things, prior to,
Yes.
to moving and shifting. And I found an old advertisement, which I must have cut out of the Queenstown papers, advertising showtime at the at a Frankton Arms or something,
Yeah.
in hotels, and people there, and they'd booked me to put it all together, these shows
Yeah,
and things. I must have been game as hell in those days because I was only a kid.
Oh, well, the world's your
You know.
oyster then, Neil, as we all know, or it appears to be until you break your teeth on the pearl, I
But
think.
we never made any money, but we had a lot of fun.
No.
Never
I think
made a
that's probably
dime,
correct.
really.
That's absolutely correct, yeah.
But certainly had a lot of fun doing it,
Well, I remember you, Neil Collins. I went to a pop show in the 60s in Dunedin at the Town Hall. I have no idea which show it was. You'll know. I don't know who the stars were, apart from you, of course. You came out with the band and sang England Swings Like a Pendulum Do.
What a memory
On
this man
bicycles
has.
2 by 2, etc. And I thought that's very gay, very good. Yeah.
Very game of me,
Oh, no,
is
I
what you were
said
going
good.
to say.
Yeah.
That eventuated out of a bet.
Oh,
with,
right.
with the backing band. I think they were called the Commodores from Christchurch.
Oh, yes,
The show
yep,
was
yep.
it was a Gene Pitney show.
Not sure.
Yep,
But
it was
I
one
have
of
certainly
Gene
have seen Gene
Pitney's,
Pitney. Yep.
and I had this powder blue jacket and black
That's
pants
it.
and black hair, all slick
Oh.
back. Oh, just looked the cat's pajamas. And they said, I must have been just humming or singing around. They said, we were short of numbers. You can do one. I said, God, that'll be the day. I said,
Yeah.
I would clear this hall faster than 6 policemen at closing time in the pub. And they said, no. And so they took a bet that I could get through. And I thought of England Swings because I was a Roger Miller fan.
Yeah.
It was only a 2.5-minute song.
Yep.
So they ended up betting me $20 in that money at that time that I wouldn't go through with it. And $20 was, I wasn't being paid to do the show.
Yeah.
I was doing it for nothing. I thought, if these guys are getting paid
Yeah.
and they want to give me $20, I'll do it. And they backed it. And we rehearsed it that
Oh, it was
afternoon.
good fun.
I did
Yeah.
it that night, yeah.
I remember it. It was good fun.
Thank you for that.
I went out to buy the record. They said, well, he hasn't recorded anything. But no, but it must have changed now. I'll go out tomorrow. There must be something.
I
short-lived career, Neil.
I wrote a song that Hogsnott Rupert recorded.
I've heard that you've written lyrics
Yeah.
for a song or whatever. Yeah.
Short and Sweet, it was called.
All right. And it was recorded.
Yes,
Oh.
yes, it is. And they didn't do it true to. They did it, and then at the end they had a bit of fun with the harmonica and that. That always
Yeah.
jarred a bit, but that's another story. So you got going, and you started doing these shows. And being a magician, you're very much in demand for children's parties, among other things, aren't you? And then being a little guest spot at various firms' functions or Christmas do's and whatever.
Yeah, and in those days, as you well know, Neil, television had just started, so everybody rushed to get on, and anybody did get on in some cases with things like Have a Shot and shows like that, which I didn't do, but I had friends that did, and that started a lot of people off. But when I figured out the idea that, well, if magic doesn't exist, then it's, when someone said to me, a magician is an actor playing the part of a magician. So I thought, well, the idea is to go and be more into an actor than a magician, which is still a good idea. So I then went and got a small part in a Shakespearean play, strangely, up at Patrick and Rosalie Carey's Globe Theatre. And slightly unsuccessfully, I've never brushed up my Shakespeare since then, but I had the part of a page boy. It was The Taming of the Shrew, which later, of course, became Kiss Me Kate, the Cole Porter show. But anyway, not after they saw my bit, because I remember I'd done about 3 or 4 performances of it. And let me think, what were the lines? Thrice noble Lord, let me entreat of you to pardon me for yet a night or two, or if not so, until the sun be set. For your physicians have expressly charged in peril to incur your former malady, that I may yet absent be. What it means, I had I still don't.
Take that man's name, Sergeant.
Yeah.
David, that's wonderful. We'll pause for a moment or two. We'll come back. My guest here in the studio today is David Taylor.